Hi, my friends. I am so glad you're here with me today because today I have Alicia Jones. And now on this podcast, we are really talking about perimenopause and menopause and how to help ourselves. And Alicia works with women 45 and older to really help them thrive in their lives. So, welcome, Alicia. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad you're having me, and it's a really hot topic. So I'm excited to talk all things perimenopause into postmenopause.
Absolutely. So before we jump into the ton of questions that I have for you, how about you just tell us a little bit about your background, why you're here, and what prompted you to help women 45 and older?
Yeah, so I was already pursuing fitness and wellness. I have a degree in kinesiology, which a lot of people don't even know what that is. It's a degree in movement, physiology, biomechanics, and a lot of nutrition. So it's not, just a one course nutrition here. You have to do a lot of courses in nutrition. So it's kind of like the whole preventative healthcare in one degree. And I was doing that. And then I had a lot of clients that I was trying to get to do the CN Tower climb. And I don't know if you know the CN Tower, but it's over 1,700 steps. It's really, really, really tall. And they do charities to go up this huge, tall building.
Yeah.
It was for world wildlife at the time, so you save the
Okay.
animals and the environment by going up as a group. But
Yeah.
I was trying to recruit some of my clients at the time, and they were like, "We're too old for this. We're not going to do this." And so at the time, my mother, she was 72. I recruited my mom to do it, and she's always been really healthy. And so she became my marketing. It was, if she's 72, so can you. And so
Yeah.
from there, I started to really realize, okay, I want to work with the over 50 population. Some of that is because when I was growing up, my grandmother, who, like, I love my grandmother. My mother was a single mother. She was trying to take care of us the best she could, but she had to work. So my grandmother was the one who took care of us. But she was the opposite from my mother in the sense that she came from a different time when smoking was considered the norm. She was a nurse and she smoked. And so when she was 72, her health had really declined. She had COPD and cardiovascular disease. And so when I had seen later on my mother, who never smoked, rarely drank, and really took care of herself, she was able to do the CN Tower with me, while my grandmother at the time, she was only able to we actually had to get babysitters in. She was only able
Mhm.
to stay in bed with me or sit up for a little while and do things with me and then go back to bed. So I was like, it really goes to show what happens when you take care of yourself, when you know how
Mm.
to take care of yourself. You have that education and good quality education that tells you kind of what is good for us, what's not good for us. And I just thought, this is what I want to do. I want to
Ah,
conquer that belief of, you're too old, and I definitely want to show what's possible if you take care of yourself as we age.
I love that because as I enter this age, I turn 50 this year. I've been thinking for a few years now, like I really want to add, years to my life. And I
Mhm.
want those years to be, doing the things I love and doing them with agility and not in pain. So that your mom is totally inspiring. I love that story.
Yeah, yeah. And to your point too, you want to age and you want to live a long life. But if the last 10 years of your life you're lying in bed and you're not living a good quality of life, it's really not worth it. So it has to be
Yeah.
quality and quantity altogether, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us for fitness over 50 then? Like what helped your mom get up those stairs? What are some important key aspects of when you are 50 or older to really concentrate on?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is just get moving. If you're not moving, even now, it's never too late, and just to start moving. And I think what ends up happening is, I think we've all been there. You feel really tired. You're like, oh, I'll just skip this one workout. And that fatigue can accumulate. It's a lot harder for us to recover and get up and get that energy. And so we need to make sure that we're doing some form of movement. It can be walking, it can be, doing some stretching, but just getting started with movement, that energy starts to build up and you're able to do more. And
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And then I think the other point is the nutrition and the fitness side of things. For us women, especially, we need to be strength training. Well, I mean, men need to strength train too, but our estrogen is what helps us become anabolic, which means that estrogen is anabolic actually. So what it does is it helps us build muscle, it builds strength. We know it's anabolic that it builds because it helps us build bone density. And I think we're all aware that you've heard that as estrogen drops, we no longer
Yeah.
have that bone building power. So doing strength training is really, really important, and impact in the sense of you don't have to be jumping if your knees hurt or if you've got back issues, but something maybe even where you're stomping your feet
Mhm.
25 times. There's actually this one study that I love where it shows 25 times they got individuals to stomp with as hard as they could. Of course, knees, if your knees can handle it, on the ground, and that vibration actually helped to enhance their bone density. So it's really
Oh,
important to be doing things like impact, like the stairs, as we talked about with the CN Tower, or some form of stomping, and then weights that feel hard yet doable. And I say
mhm.
the doable part because when I say weight training and it has to feel hard or heavy, people automatically assume it's 100 pounds on your back going as hard and as intense as you can. And it doesn't need to be that way. It just needs to feel hard yet doable, which means that you can get to the end, but you want to put the weight down by the end.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, I try to do the weight training because like you said, I'm of this age and I'm trying to do that. But like my heaviest weights are 20s, and that's my heavy weights. So, it's all relevant to what you can do at the moment for sure.
Exactly, yes.
You talk a lot about HIIT workouts, and I kind of wanted to know about that because I am getting older, but I'm also still really busy. I still have kids in school and kids in college, and I'm a high school teacher. So I hear lots of times people are like, I'm too busy to do a workout. I'm too busy to do a workout. And I'm always like, something's better than nothing. But what can you tell me about the HIIT workouts? Because I feel like that might be that happy spot.
Yes, HIT is that happy spot, and we will talk about that. But I want to also say that when we were talking about strength training, I
Mhm.
think a lot of people automatically assume too that's an hour in the gym.
Yeah.
Or, it's in a gym and you can't just do a few quick moves, but you can do something that's 10 minutes and still get the best benefit. It's not about the quantity of your workout, it really is the quality. So if you're doing some quality movements, you can do that even in less than 10 minutes. Pick like three movements that are full body compound movements and you're good to go. You could be doing that full strength in
Mhm.
those three moves. But when we talk about HIIT, what's really fabulous to know is that you could be doing about as little as 3 minutes all the way up to 10 minutes in your HIIT workout, and you've got that really great workout. In fact, you might not even need the full 10 minutes. It's something that's short and quick. I like to say 10 minutes because I think one thing that changes with age is that we need to warm up. For sure. It's not like before. I
Yeah.
don't know if it, like, were
Uh-huh.
you active in your 20s?
Yeah,
Like,
I've always been active, but stretching is a whole new dimension to me now. Like it's needed. It's not just like, oh, that would be fun. It's like, no, I need that stretch.
yes, yeah, yeah. Like I've always run. I love running,
Mhm.
but it used to be that I could go for my run, literally put my shoes on, leave the house, run, and then do a little bit of a walk on my way home. No stretching, go right into something. And that has changed. Like especially as we age, we need a little bit more time to warm up to get the blood flow and the synovial fluid in the joints. So what I like to say is do 5 minutes of a warm up, just get moving, walk around the house, do some cleaning or something, anything that you're
Yeah.
naturally going to do anyways, especially if it's first thing in the morning and you're getting ready for your day. And then you can do all out intensity for anywhere from, depending on your level, 20 seconds all the way up to 3 minutes. Like, what do you have time for? And again, it all depends on the type of high intensity interval training you're doing. But then afterwards, you can do a little bit of a cool down and you're good to go. And for aging, high intensity interval training is really important. The number one predictor of your quality of life is called your VO2 max. That's your lung capacity, your ability to take in oxygen and use it. And you can't get that better VO2 max necessarily by lifting weights. You have to push your lung system. And so high intensity interval training does that. It really pushes that lung system and it can help you get that better quality of life just by doing that short bout.
Wow, I didn't know that. I've done HIIT workouts in the past, but I didn't know about the lung aspect and how important that is. That's really awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Our lung capacity naturally declines with age. So
Mhm.
it's not like you can keep it at its max. But I don't know about you. I'm not an athlete. I love my exercise and I love the topic, but I'm not an athlete. I have never hit my max VO2, as in when you're an athlete and you're in your 20s, you can hit that maximum amount of lung capacity you could ever possibly use in your life and then it goes down. But if you
Yeah.
never hit that max anyways to begin with, then even as you're aging and you're working this VO2 max system, you're getting better than you ever were before because you're working it to a point that you hadn't worked it when you were in your 20s. So
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that just because you lose it doesn't necessarily mean you even know you've lost it.
hmm
Hmm.
And that gives me hope too. Well, hope for two reasons. One, because I don't have to take an hour out of my life, which is nice.
Hmm.
But it also gives me hope too because it's never too late to start, right? Like it's not too late to start. So I can always build on that lung capacity, build on my muscle. Like I can be like, I never did it in the past, so it doesn't really matter now. But it really does matter to start now.
It absolutely matters to start because the decline can get fast, especially at 65. So right now, what you're trying to do is work your hardest to get it to its highest. And then if there is a little bit of a drop again at 65, you keep on working it, you keep on
Yeah.
pushing it, and you can still accumulate. You can get better.
Okay, awesome. That's great. So that is definitely the workout part, which gives me a lot of hope. Maybe we could transition into the nutrition part because there's one thing that I keep hearing is that I need my protein. I need my protein. Tell me about protein, I guess.
Yes, yes. And that is a hard one because people have been hearing how much protein you need.
Yeah.
And it is so true that with age, we need more protein. And as women, as we age, it becomes harder for us to synthesize protein, which means that we could be eating the same amount we were when we were younger, but we're not taking it in and building lean muscle with that. And some of the research shows that that's even harder for us to do than for men to do. So we definitely need more protein, and that protein level rises with age. I think what's happening out in the world right now is that we're starting to get a lot of influencers that are athletes in their 50s and they're women and beyond. And I think that's excellent. And I think that they're speaking to this need for protein, but we have to be careful that we understand who they're speaking to. Because I'm hearing a lot of people say to me, I heard I have to eat a gram of protein per pound
Yeah,
of my
that'd be a lot
ideal.
of protein for
That
me.
is, yes. And absolutely, if you're an athlete
Mhm.
and you are really breaking down lean muscle, you absolutely, or you may need a pound. It's actually slightly under than a pound, but it's easy for people to round up
Yeah.
and think a pound. But if you're not an athlete and you're not breaking down lean muscle, plus you've got the age factor that's also breaking down lean muscle at the same time,
hmm
then if you are only dealing with your everyday workouts, you're doing this to have exercise as a part of your life, not the center of it,
Yes.
then you probably don't need that much protein. Your protein would be more, I like to use kilograms. That's how the majority of what we have done in school was. It's about 1.2 to 1.6 or 1.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That is about half of a pound on
Okay.
average, half to like zero point 0.7 of a pound on average. So it's much less. So if you're
Mhm.
just getting started and you're already overwhelmed by these huge amounts of protein that you need, start at 1.2 grams of
Mhm.
protein. And then if you want, you can work your way up. It's not going to harm you if you have more, but you don't necessarily need to have that high amount of protein.
Great. And is there a certain protein that is better, or is a protein? And I asked this for two reasons for that, but also because I have Crohn's. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a digestive
Mhm.
issue. So I have a hard time breaking down protein in general. So I'm pretty picky about my protein because a lot of it makes me feel really bad. So is there a protein that's better than others?
In theory, when you're looking at the amino acid profile, the essential amino acid profile, it is true that meat is a lot better quality in terms of the type of
hmm
protein that you're getting with all of the essential amino acids. And when we're looking at lean muscle growth, which we know is really important, again, for quality of life, it does boost the metabolism a little. And for our strength, like getting up from a seated position, getting up off of the toilet. I hate to say that one a lot, but
Yeah.
a lot of like I know people that have actually gotten stuck
Mhm.
seated on a toilet. So you want to have that leg strength to do that. Um, you really want to look at leucine content in the type of amino acid profile that you have. And animal-based proteins do have a higher leucine content. But it doesn't mean that you can't be vegan or vegetarian. You can absolutely do that. It just means you're going to have to be careful on varying your diet. Leucine high plant-based proteins are pea protein, for example. I love soy protein. People are terrified of soy, but if it's a all natural tofu or tempeh fermented soy, not only is that great for the type and quality of protein, but it's also great for your gut microbiome. And as we age, we really need to work at keeping that diversity in our gut microbiome. As you know, you have Crohn's,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
dairy free as well?
No, I'm not dairy free. I will say my Crohn's is very in check at this moment because of stress. Like stress was a huge part
Mm,
of it. So I worked really hard on that, and that has helped a lot. But like I don't do a lot of dairy, and I do take digestive enzymes, and that helps me process everything a little bit better too. But
mhm.
you did mention amino acids. So if somebody isn't eating a lot of meat, should they take amino acids?
That's still varied. With the research, there may not be a necessity for actually taking the amino acids. When you
Okay.
take a look at any sort of supplementation, we have to remember that it's almost like you're getting a little bit of that supplement. So I like to think of it like the skeleton key, or like you get a second key for your house. It fits into the door and it fits into that lock, but every single time you have to fit it in there, you have to jiggle it and wiggle it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what it is when you get a supplement. It is that key that has been made out of something else because you need a copy of it, like
Hmm.
your amino acids. It's not exactly the same because it doesn't come as the whole food source. So it's this copy key. And when you fit it into the lock, when you're trying to actually get it to fit into your cell, to go into your cell, it doesn't fit the same way. It'll still go into your cell. It's just not quite the same. So we're looking for whole foods as much as possible so
Yep.
that you don't get that copy key. And so that's where my issue with amino acids comes in.
Okay. That
But
makes
with Crohn's, to your point, if you are deciding to do dairy, casein has been shown in some studies to be better than taking in like whey protein, for example, if you're doing
okay.
dairy. It might actually help with digestive issues, but again, it's subjective to what
Yeah.
your symptoms are.
I have noticed that like whey protein powders are not good on my stomach at all.
Mhm.
And I've also noticed, since we're talking about dairy, I've noticed that if I drink whole milk, that is much easier on my stomach than like 1%. Because I used to think, oh, I need 1% or fat free. But I don't know if it's the sugar, you might know, but something in it where like the whole milk actually just feels better.
It's the fat content in it,
Fat
and
content.
so it's slowing down the digestive. So I don't
Ah.
want to be like, this might be TMI, but were you getting diarrhea? Is that one of the issues that you were having with it?
With my Crohn's,
With
um, with
with the
the
milk, like
yeah.
1% milk?
Yeah, and just really upset stomach in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah. So it was
Oh,
probably the relief because the sugar is more available quicker. There's no fat in it to kind of slow it down. So your
yeah.
gastric emptying shifts, and
Yeah.
that comes with a lot of gas, and it comes with a quicker like getting out of your system type of
Yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's interesting to know. And I've always kind of been the person who's like, I'd rather eat something, a little bit of something that's whole than a bunch of stuff that's like filled with something that I don't know what it is. So,
Yes, yeah, I totally agree with that. It's back to the key again, right? You want
yeah,
the full key, you don't want the like half key. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, talking about keys and supplements and health, you also have your thoughts about GLPs, and I would love to know what your thoughts about those are.
Yeah, I think when again, there's a lot of information out there, and
Yeah.
I think that at least for me, when I'm taking in my information, I hear two really polar sides to the
Hmm.
equation. I'm either hearing um, I want to lose 5 pounds for this wedding. I need to look my very best. I got on a GLP. It's wonderful. That's it. And I lost the weight and I was able to go to the wedding. And then I get the other side, which is a lot of the clients that have come to me and said, I'm on a GLP. I feel so guilty that I actually decided to do this. I feel like I'm taking the easy way out. And I feel like I really just needed to because I couldn't do this on my own. And I've been suffering for years to try and do this. And I feel very much for the individual that has really worked hard at this and has suffering and either has the food noise that doesn't go away, who cannot lose the weight, even though they are eating the healthy diet, they're working on their protein and doing the exercise. And we know that obesity kills more than the side effects of these drugs. And so when I take a look at somebody who's really suffering, I say, let's use it as a complement, let's have it as a side and continue to work on your strength and your nutrition. And I think that for those that if you are on it and you're thinking to yourself, I feel like I'm taking the easy way out, you are not taking the easy way out. In fact, I would argue that it is harder if you're on these drugs because you need to be able to eat enough to get that protein in so you don't lose lean muscle and so that you do get the benefits or effects of losing the weight for a healthy quality of life, reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes, you improve your health, but 10 and 20 years from now, you maintain that incredible quality of life because you do have your lean muscle and your bone density. And so when you take a look at those people that are just trying to lose the 5 pounds very quickly, not really paying attention to what they eat, we still don't know the long-term effect for bone density or quality of life, but we are seeing that the lean mass loss and potential bone loss, not from the drug, but because they're under eating and they're not fueling their body properly, that is already a pretty high percentage. So I
Yeah.
think it just depends who is on the drug and what the purpose is for. And it's not the easy way out.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I really appreciate it. I just started on this journey for that exact reason. I've always done the things and they used to work amazing and now they just aren't cutting it. But I'm not going to stop doing all the things. I'm not going to stop working out. I'm not going to stop my protein, my steps, all of that. But this has been a really helpful tool in my toolbox to help me get to where I want to be. So,
Oh,
yeah.
are you on a GLP-1 or a GLP GIP? So there's the
Yes, that's what I'm on.
yes. So
Hmm.
are you on you're on
Yeah.
which one are you on?
The GLP GIP.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
Mhm.
like Manjaro
Yeah.
or
Uh-huh.
Step Bound.
Yep. Yep. That's
Yeah.
what I'm on. And it also has some B12 in it, which I really appreciate because I've been
Oh.
taking B12 for my Crohn's for a long time, just to help. I had a hard time getting nutrients absorbed into my system. So that's why the doctor prescribed that. So I've been doing that for a long time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. We'll see.
Yeah.
So how is it
Mhm.
working for you
Yeah.
so far?
It has been great. It has been really great. It's been like a steady, maybe a pound a week. So it's not like this huge difference, but it feels good because it's healthy and it's going to last. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still working out. I'm still taking my protein in. I'm still doing all the things, but I'm getting a little help. And that is really, really nice.
Yes, it's a breath
Yeah.
of fresh air,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if it's been something you've been struggling with for a long
Mhm.
time. I
Yeah.
absolutely think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. And it really helps with the mindset and feeling better about myself, recognizing myself in the mirror, all of that kind of stuff. And I think that's really important as you get to my age too, is just really keeping a positive mindset. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, definitely. So I do have a question for you. What are, wait, are you over 45? You don't look over
I,
45.
well, I'll be 46 in March. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Then I can ask you this question because this is a question I ask people. What is one thing that you're grateful for in the season you're in right now that you didn't think you would be?
Oh, I think it's overall my confidence in myself.
Mm.
I think especially this is a good year to be asking. There's been a lot of things going on this year, and I think back to my younger self, how would she have handled some of these events? And I think she would have been an emotional wreck. She would not have been able to, just sit back and take it in and learn from it and just feel at peace with things not always being exactly what you can control. And I
Yeah.
think as I've gotten older, just I don't think that there's any way to change any of the like any every lesson that I have gone through in my life, I don't want to change because it's gotten me here. I
Mhm.
just feel a lot more I confident in myself and I love myself. And I
Mhm.
think that that was a process. A lot of people say you should love yourself when you're younger. I'm not sure, at least for me, I think I needed to go through the journey of discovering who I was and how to love myself in order to be where I am now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I find that with myself as well. It's so easy to say, oh, just love yourself. But if you don't know how and you haven't learned those lessons yet,
Mhm.
yeah. And you can love yourself, but then you go through a season or you go through, a conflict and you have to learn all over again how to love this new you and this new version of you that's showing up. So,
And I think exactly what you said. It is a constant learning and growing. And I think we're lucky enough to be able to do that and to absorb that and take it in. I think
yeah.
some people, they still struggle to try and learn from themselves, or they haven't had that opportunity to do it. And I think as long as you're curious and always adventurous, at least with who you are, I think
Mhm.
that growth is amazing. Like just you grow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Growing is key for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is one way? I know you have a million ways, but what is one way that you could share with us that you nurture yourself on a daily basis? What's one way you take care of yourself?
Yeah, I remember you asked this question actually on the list beforehand
Yeah.
too. And the biggest thing, especially this year that I've done, and it really, like I tell people I do this and they think I am so strange. I have nothing in front of me. I am not meditating. I am not listening to music. I may have a journal in front of me, but I don't necessarily do anything with it. And I just stare out the window. That
Mm,
is all I do. And it is because I was reading a book by Tasha Eurich. It was, I cannot remember the name of it, but she was talking about how, we end up getting really busy and we also end up going through seasons where life is incredibly stressful, but we have to get through the thing. Like, I would love to really be deep in my emotions all of the time and figure things out. But I mean, I've got work and you've got like you were just talking about how busy you were. You're a teacher and you've
yeah.
got all of the other things that you're doing. You've got this podcast. You can't just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to really feel these emotions. And so a lot of times what happens is that we push them down and we're just going through the motions of life. And I felt like this year when I read that, I was like, that's kind like you become numb to everything. You're just going through the motions. And so it was her suggestion in the book to just sit with yourself and whatever comes up comes up. It's not a meditation where you push thoughts out. It's you are literally allowing yourself to feel whatever it is. And that has changed me greatly this year because there's been stuff that I didn't even know. And it could be joy, it could be sadness, it could be whatever the case may be. But even just giving myself that 10 minutes to really just feel. And then, if you have to get on with the rest of your day, great. But just give myself that time to feel.
Yeah. I love that answer. Um, I think sitting with yourself and listening to your body and your emotions is one of the hardest things to do. And it's one of the most beneficial things to do. Like
Mhm.
often that's why like people might get more serious injuries than they know is because they kind of push that pain aside and they keep going. Or I know going back to my Crohn's, a huge part of why I got Crohn's is because I kept my emotions buried and kept them buried. And my body eventually said, you need to stop because your body will do that if you don't listen to it. But if you spend even 5 minutes a day being still and listening to your body, like you said, is so healthy for you on so many levels. I love that
Yeah.
answer.
You
Yeah.
might like that book then that I
Yeah.
can't remember the name of, but by Tasha Eurich, because
Gonna
she
look it up.
actually had a disease that was not going diagnosed. So she kept on going to the doctors and she was like, listen, I'm sick. This is going on. And she was starting to feel really down. Nobody was taking her seriously. She was feeling really sorry for herself. And it was talking like she's a psychologist as well. So she talks about the science side, which I like. And she
Yeah.
was talking also about the experience of what she had found. going through this and having to bury your emotions and just push through and write the book and do the thing and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely read that book.
I am definitely going to read that book for sure. Awesome. So I'm going to have all the links on how to get a hold of you down below in the show notes, but where can you just tell us, like, where can we find you? Where can we have more conversations and work with you?
Yeah, so my big thing is my free masterclass where science blends
Okay.
lifestyle. So I think I gave you the link for the
Yep.
free masterclass, the three-phase food and fitness formula every woman over 50 needs to know.
Okay.
And then if you want free content, there's a lot on my YouTube channel. It's my absolute favorite to put content there. So go and take a
Okay.
look. There's even we were talking about busy strength training. I show my
Ah,
like the two moves that I would do if I'm really busy, the ones that I
awesome.
get out there. So that and then of course there's Facebook, my website, aliciajoneshealthyliving.com, and
Mhm.
all the socials, of course.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has just been a joy, and I got so much information out of this, and I am feeling lighter about what I need to do to move forward. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. And thank you all for listening. Like I said, like I always say, choose yourself, and I love you, and I will talk to you soon.